Dan, welcome. Nice
Thanks
to see
for
you.
having me. Yeah, nice to see you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the second. Second. We've only done one other, so yeah, it is the second. The second 6 sessions. Each week, I get a chance to chat to somebody doing something amazing in the growth space, be that marketing, sales, or CX. All of them are smarter, faster, and better than I am. Although I don't think we've ever had a running race, but I do believe you would beat me in that time. So I'm hoping some of that rubs off on me at the same time. Each week, I'm going to ask our guests 6 questions over 6 minutes. Although, if anything, the first session to go by, we failed miserably at that and ended up talking for way more like 15, 20 minutes. But that's cool because you're all getting a lot out of this anyway. But we will try and keep it concise. It's a live video, so we're going to try and keep it short and sweet, and it will be unfiltered. So don't judge me if Dan says anything untoward. This week, it's my pleasure to introduce you to another good friend of mine, taking time out from his turkey leftovers and Black Friday shopping, Dan Murphy. Dan is one of my favorite SaaS marketers. We've worked alongside him for a couple of years since his days at Drift, where he was director of product marketing. More recently, he's the director of marketing at Privy. Side note, anyone playing in the e-com space should definitely check out what Privy are doing. I think it could definitely change the way that your business works, but I'll let Dan talk about that. And in fact, he also just released his own product launching masterclass, sharing what he's learned from over 60 product launches. Dan, I've taken that directly from your website copy, so I'm presuming it's probably more than 60 sites now. If our marketing is anything you go by, you don't actually update that regularly.
I think I have a few more now. Yeah, probably closer to 70. Yeah.
He's written a couple of books on marketing and is a reasonably good company to have a beer with. So with all that in mind, I'm excited to welcome him to the 6 sessions. Dan, we haven't had a chance to properly catch up in a while. How are things? How's the wild ride of 2020 been for you?
Yeah, it's been good. I was just gonna say I'm drinking coffee because my time it's 10 a.m. here. But next time we'll have to catch up at an hour. We could share a beer and do a live stream.
I'm happy to drink beer at 3 p.m. on a Friday. You might want to consider that at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's a Friday and we're working because it's Black Friday. We're in Privy. We're in e-commerce, so it's a big day. Lots of emails coming through. I'm actually, one of the things I'm spending the most time on today is screenshotting Black Friday emails because that's my world now. And so we're actually building a huge library of all the awesome emails. So I've opted into a bunch of different emails and we're going to take those and use them. It's been a crazy year. Yeah, it's been a great year. It's been one of those years where I've gotten to do a lot of things I wouldn't have normally done, like the product launch masterclass, just because, like many people, I have so much more time on my calendar, not commuting. It's so interesting how just not commuting, and then, other things like not being able to go out, and see friends and, catch up with friends or have dinner or whatever, that's so much more time. So I've done a couple of little side projects and it's been a really interesting, fun year. A really good year. I was talking to my in-laws or future in-laws last night at Thanksgiving on Zoom. And we were saying, like, this year's been a really good year to just kind of reflect, to do a lot of learning. I've been doing a lot more reading and catching up on some stuff that I haven't been able to in the past. And a lot of that next year is going to be crazy for me. I'm getting maybe probably not married next year, but the year after, but I got to plan a wedding next year. I'm moving next year. Just a whole bunch of stuff going on. So like next year's going to be a lot of like doing and being in different places and doing a lot of stuff, especially where the pandemic hopefully is going to be in better shape. And this year's been a lot of like reflecting and learning. So it's been kind of interesting. It's been a good year overall though.
So this has got nothing to do with the questions. I told you we'd end up going off piece and spend way more time
on
it. So like, you are one of my favorite people to like get book recommendations from. So like you're always talking about something that you're reading. I think you were the person who told me I should read the Boron Letters. Like great book. Yeah. What are you reading at the moment? Like what should I go out and get now?
So I'm reading history books at the moment. I'm actually reading about your boy Churchill. In World War II. The Splendid and the Vile is a really good book. I forgot the name of the author. It just came out, I think, last year. It's a really good biography behind the scenes. Really, it's a collection of all the journals and diaries. Everybody kept a diary in England. Maybe you still do this. I don't know, Rich, if you keep a diary, but everyone kept a diary in 1940 in England. So they have this, this author went through like thousands and thousands of pieces and he's putting together this really good book. So I've been doing that, which has actually been a really nice break from like if I was reading in the last couple of years, it was a business book or a marketing book. Most of them, like Barone Letters, recommended by Dave Gerhardt, my boss, and so a lot of my book recommendations come from him. That's a really good one. It's a good change of pace, and it's good to like learn about really strong leadership in a time of crisis, right? Which has been something, especially in the U.S., something that we've all been paying more attention to, strong leadership in chaos this year than years past. So that's one. Let's see, what else have I been reading? I read April Dunford's book, obviously awesome this year. I thought that was good too. Positioning. I've been really trying to get tighter in that, learn more about positioning, especially being a product marketer. A lot of the stuff is self-taught or little bits and pieces from other things. And that's a really good book, top to bottom, how to approach positioning. So I read that as well. And then of course,
when you went from Privy to, from Drift to Privy, you shared a tweet about like having to move your books out that had sat on your desk for years, but there were a couple you were going to keep on your desk and take them with you, use them as manual. What were they? I think it was 6.
Yeah. You're going to put me on the spot and make sure, because I don't have them on my desk anymore. Actually, I have all my books in the back of this huge desk I have has this like crazy secret compartment. And I actually just this week filled up. I have too many books now. I can't fit, like I've been stuffing them in there. I just have a bunch of copies of the book we just did for Privy. And I keep to just put them on my coffee table because I don't know where else to put them. It's not like we're hosting and I want to hand them out to people. Hey, this is a book I wrote.
Have you written a book? Is that
it just happens to be right here. What do you know, Rich? Yeah, there's a couple, like another one is the positioning book, which I love picking up because it has so many case studies about like how to reposition against a competitor, or how this bank in England position themselves against national banks, regional bank versus like just all these really good stories that like when I'm just sitting there like working on something or thinking about the next launch or something, it's just great to pick up and read a case study and be like, oh, this is so interesting. I wonder how, and then you immediately it applies to something you're doing. So the positioning book, the Barone Letters, is another good one to have. Those are 2. I actually have some more. I would have had a whole list or bag of books ready to go for you, Rich, if we were going to do a book storytelling. But no, I actually just got a couple new ones. There's a couple ads books that Dave sent me this year, like flip books where you can pull out and you can look at different advertisements from
in the picture changes and
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, that picture changes. No, there's some really good ones you can just flip through and get ideas for like ad creatives and like really good copy and stuff like that. So I like the books that are just like really easy to pick up and just like at any moment, like I don't want to necessarily sit down and read these books that I keep close by or used to keep close by. It's more of just like inspiration. Quickly open it up, go through it, find something that is inspiring, and then use that for my marketing.
Right. So we should probably start with the actual questions now, seeing as we're already past 8 minutes. But so top line, what's your business? What does Privy do? And it's a pretty good time of the year to actually describe to people what Privy
is. It's literally the best day of the year to describe it. So so we're actually the number 1 sales app for Shopify. So a lot of people have heard of Shopify. If you're building, if you want to sell products online, you really have 2 choices now. You can go on Amazon, build out your distribution, try to rank in Amazon for certain terms, whether that be, face mask or, light or printer or whatever. Or you could build your own site and you would use Shopify to do that. That's where most people will go. I mean, they've got millions of users on Shopify. And so when you build your store, the way we like to explain it is if you build your store with Shopify, you can grow your store at Privy. And so with Privy, you can grow your email list with things like pop-outs, displays, forms, landing pages. And you can also do all your email marketing, right? So we serve new e-commerce businesses mainly. Like this year, we've had a huge audience where we've grown a huge audience of new e-commerce stores. In 2020, right, with the world upside down, brick and mortar is transitioning to online. People like you and me have more time. We're doing more things like this, and a lot of people have started e-commerce businesses this year. So we've had a huge surge of people that have just started their business this year, and they don't really know a lot about e-commerce. They want to, they have a cool product. They might have some exposure. They might have some backstory about their product, but they don't really have like the marketing skill set, right? And so Privy helps with, it's the tool to help you do that. But we also have built out this year a lot of the education around becoming e-commerce marketing. That's why, here, I'll plug it one more time. That's why we wrote a book about it, the e-commerce marketing handbook, because, a lot of these small business owners, they're not marketers. That's not who we serve. We don't serve marketers. We serve business owners, entrepreneurs. And so we literally wrote the book on it. It's and we're selling it now on a Shopify store. We built out the whole distribution, fulfillment, everything for it, which was really fun. So yeah, that's what Privy does.
Nice. And what's your role at Privy? So what do you do?
Yeah. So I run the brand and product marketing teams. So a lot of my background is product marketing at Drift and a little bit before that. And then the brand thing is like, I've always sort of done it, and I've worked for Dave for a number of years now. So I've seen him do it at an elite level. And so now I get to do some of that stuff, which is awesome. I work with some really great people on my team on content and, brand awareness plays like the book and other things. So so I manage both the brand and the product marketing side of the Privy marketing team.
How did you, so like Drift, like B2B, primarily B2B, how did you find, and I'm aware like Privy is like you're selling to businesses as well, primarily, but like how have you found that kind of transition from like kind of like high-end enterprise B2B into kind of entrepreneurial B2B?
Yeah. So when I joined Drift in 2017, we were talking to not really like VSBs, not like really small businesses like the way Privy is, but some SMBs. It was smaller teams, smaller companies than what they're selling to now. They've done a great job moving up market, and obviously it's an enterprise sale now. So it was similar, some of the tactics that we did in terms of growing, the audience and feeding the sales team in the early days of Drift. So it was kind of like when I joined Privy this year, it was kind of like just rewinding a couple of years to like that size, because the marketing team was pretty big. I think it was like 30 or 40 people when I left at Drift. And when I joined Privy, we were brand new, basically. We just, rebooted the marketing team, and there was like 3 or 4 of us at a time. I think we're only 7 people now. We're a pretty small team. So it was actually kind of like just rewinding and applying some of those. And that's the really fun stuff. I mean, I've always loved doing that. Like I did that at Onshape way back when, and it was just really cool to kind of like rewind and deal with the problems of a smaller company, like building an audience and, rebooting the content and starting a podcast and, trying these different brand plays. And then we're also trying to rebuild the funnel and understand that better. So it's been really cool to do all that stuff again.
When's the product marketing, product launching, masterclassing podcast coming live? Surely that's
the podcast. I don't know if I'm going to do a podcast on that. I've kind of been reluctant to do my own podcast because I've done a bunch of guest appearances, stuff like that this year, and like everybody's starting a podcast, and I've been reluctant to do it because I kind of like versatility, and I kind of like jump around. I don't know if I want to focus on just one topic. The product launch masterclass, the course, like that was just, this summer I had some time. I had been talking to a lot of people, and they're asking about this thing and that thing. And I just had so much experience with it. I was like, I really want to put this down. I really want to teach this. It would be cool. And it was fun doing my own little side business, and doing something there was really cool. Yeah. And running it, doing customer support and building it and billing and all this just fun stuff that, you get to do as a, when you build something like that. That was kind of scratching an itch for me. And also obviously sharing a framework that I know has been helpful for people, which is great. I don't think I'll do a podcast on product launches. There's a couple really good ones out there. Cody from Drift is doing one, Getting to Market. He's done a great job. I was on that a couple months ago, and he's doing a really good job. I'm really enjoying that one. I am going to do a segment. I haven't announced this to anyone yet. I'm working on it, but I am going to do a segment with Marcus Andrews on his podcast on a specific topic, which I'll share more about in the next couple of weeks. We're going to launch it early next year. Yes, helps out Marcus. Yeah, I'm sure he likes that. Helps out Marcus. Yeah, Marcus Andrews. We're gonna do a little segment, a little track on a specific topic and interview some people on his, which is really exciting. So
nice.
I'm gonna do that, and then we'll see what else happens in the next couple months. It's been fun, just like having some extra time, being able to do some cool projects on the side.
So what got you into marketing in the first place?
So my in with marketing was video. So I did video in college, and by did video meaning like I was always interested in it. I was like a little screenwriter. Like I had my own little. I shot a few little short films, short videos on campus. We had this amazing media center at my college that like no one used. we had all these cameras, all these, this equipment, like the trackers, the jibs, as they call it, the little crane. We had a full studio with teleprompters, lights, everything. And like no one used it. And I was just interested in it. I used to work there and I'd do my fun little projects. And then eventually I started doing a sports show with one of my buddies who's now he's a sports anchor down in South Carolina. He's been nominated for a couple Emmys. Like he's really taken off. He's really followed this path. And so he was the on-air talent. I was behind the air like producer. And so we started doing this on campus, and then we did all this like guerrilla marketing and stuff to like get people on campus to watch the show. And so I kind of was like doing marketing and I was doing video, and then I got an internship at HubSpot doing product videos for them as an intern. And that was it. Like I did it there. I was there for a little under a year, did some stuff, and then I got connected for my first startup, my first full like marketing job, not video job, but marketing job at a company called OnShape about 6-7 years ago now. And it was just, from there, it was just so much fun. That was like, when I joined that company, it was like pre-launch. It was a year out from launch. And we had all this fun, like going in, understanding the product, building the website, the content. We had tons of VC-backed dollars. So it was, we had some freedom. We weren't rushing to market. And so we had to do all these fun projects, build out the email nurture, test all this stuff. We had this huge launch, which is probably where my fascination with launches started back in, I think the launch was March 2015, or maybe it was I think it was 2014. And it was just this really cool experience. And so I just kind of fell in love with the small team, building something out, building an audience. I mean, we grew that freemium funnel from, 0 when we launched to 30,000 a month in about 18 months, which was pretty awesome. So it was a really cool experience. And then just, I think like most people, like you too, right? Like just chasing that feeling of like getting great results, trying something, coming up with an idea, coming up with a plan, executing on it, and then getting results. I mean, that's pretty
addicting. What do you find more exciting, like the ideation bit, so like coming up with the ideas or like actually seeing the numbers come through?
I honestly like the in between. I like after the idea's like been created, like actually doing it, right? Like I love building stuff. I love building out. Like we've built so many cool things at Privy this year. We have like we built this small marketplace for not small marketplace. We built a marketplace for small e-commerce brands. We had about 2,500 on there, and that was like a weekend project. We're like, let's just do this. Let's code it. Let's build it. And I figured out this thing, and I work with our developer and just like building that stuff out and then launching it. I do think the gratification of launching it and going out there and like getting results and just like, is everybody as excited about this idea as I am? Or like, is this working the way we thought it would work initially? Like this idea, like that is a really fun feeling. I think it's probably the best.
Do you still get nervous on launch day? Like, are your friends going to show up for your party? Like, is it that kind of feeling?
Yeah, for sure. It's like that, but it's also like, now for me, it's more of like, are we attracting the right audience, right? Like, I think I'm at the point where it's like, we're working on like, who we've built this launch for, right? And the messaging we've put into it, like, are we actually bringing that audience in? Are they doing the things we want them to do? Are they upgrading? Are they booking meetings with the sales team? Like, I think just because I've done a lot of them now, it's just more of like, it's more focused on, it's not like, are we going to get attention? Because I think, I've been lucky to be at some companies that it's pretty easy to get attention when you have something new. But is it like, were we right on our bet that we're going to focus on doing these things for the launch because we want to get this result? That's a lot of what like the course is about. But we now it's like, it's 48 hours after, 72 hours after, like looking at the data, did we actually get to where we wanted to get with this launch? That's where I get nervous. So big top line question for you now. Yep. What's next in marketing? So like 2020 has been a complete shit show of like the world throwing everything at can at us as marketers to make us have to tear up plans. And what's your best guess of what's next in marketing for 2021? Well, look, I think one thing that's becoming more and more obvious is podcasting is a medium that everybody's drawn to, and it's both taken off this year in listenership and also new podcasts, new content being created. Podcasts have been a thing for a while, marketing. I don't think there's anything new. But I think if I were, and I'm not exactly in this position at Privy, but I think if I were if I was still at Drift or I was at another MarTech company, what I would be thinking about is how do I figure out like the sponsorship model for podcasts? Because there's so much out there. So there's so many people creating new content, especially in marketing. Oh man, I mean, I'm telling you, I've just been doing all these podcasts for the last, promoting my course for the last couple months.
You mean we're not special?
No, but I've done enough that like, and it's been working. I haven't sent any emails for my course since I launched it, other than like launch week. I haven't tweeted about it. I haven't posted anything on LinkedIn. Maybe I have once or twice, but I've been getting steady sales just from doing podcast interviews. Like people are listening, people are paying attention. So I'm really interested in like, I think MarTech's a good example of like figuring out the podcast sponsorship model to like it's not just like you start your own podcast. There's so many, and there's micro podcasts, right? It's kind of like the micro influencer. Like it's not like you need, LeBron James or, Beyonce to be your influencer if you have a product. Like there's tons of micro influencers. There's so many new podcasts coming up on a layer below the top level that I would be really interested if I was in MarTech to like figure out what does that model look like? How do I get these micro podcast influencers and do sponsorship or co-marketing, whatever that looks like. I would be all over that right now if I were thinking about 2021 and how to like do something that other B2B, SaaS companies aren't doing.
So we like as an agency, we buy loads of like SaaS tech that like our business is built up around it. And one of the longest pieces of serving software that we've got within the business is 15.5. And that's where we heard that was just a throwaway comment from somebody it wasn't even ads on a podcast. It was a throwaway comment of somebody talking about using it. And so like there's that element of like recommendation and kind of that's what feeds back into it. And it's podcasts. Like I really dig them, but it's like at the same time I'm guilty of it as well. I started a podcast with somebody during lockdown, but there's so much content at the moment. I think an Amazon guy's just shown up to my front door. So that's all the questions that I had for you, and we are at like 22 minutes. I'm just gonna round off. So like Dan, thanks for being number 2 in our 6.
Yeah, I'm honored. I didn't know it was number 2. I'm pretty honored that I'm up there, top 5.
Yeah, we'll see. Like you are at least my second favorite so far. If anyone wants to follow up with you, what's the best way they connect with you?
Yeah, well, this is streaming on LinkedIn, so maybe I guess you can't see my LinkedIn profile on this, but you can see my display name, Daniel J. Murphy. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. I always make the joke that I'm pretty bad about LinkedIn messages because I get, just like everybody else, I get so much spam. So feel free to also reach out on Twitter. Same name on there as well, and you can look me up. Would love to connect.
I'll put some of those details in the comments for this as well. And where can people check out the masterclass?
Yeah, so it's theproductlaunchmasterclass.com. Oh, look at that! Look at that! One. So professional. There it is. I will say you have to type in the whole thing or do that in Google, because if you just search, actually no, I am ranking on page 1 now for product launch. Maybe it's the product launch masterclass. I think I am ranking on page 1 for there. I haven't, like I said, I haven't put in the SEO work. I probably could for that class, but if you type in that or type in theproductlaunchmasterclass.com, actually do that on Google, because then I get better rank for that, right? If people are coming through search for that, I think it's going to help me. So do me a favor and just
depends on the volume, but we'll see.
Depends on the volume. Yeah. So yeah, that's the place to check it out. Any
parting wisdom you want to share with everybody on a Friday afternoon?
No, but I want to know what your painting is in the background. It's very interesting. The one on your right.
It's a repo of a Clint, famous artist. Other than that, don't really know a lot about it. It's pretty though.
It's nice. I like the contrast with the blue. It's very nice. They have a nice background setup.
Yeah. So this is Holly's office that I'm allowed to use during lockdown. So we have the one in town. This is hers, which is.
And I always make fun of, like, I always troll you on Twitter for the star in the background because it looks like the Dallas Cowboys. I always joke that you're a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, big football guy. Yeah, you're a big rugby guy, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, we can't even play that at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah.
When we can, one day, and then one day, hopefully, you'll be able to be over in Ireland for your stag do, and I'll meet you there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we can actually get that foot race in.
Yeah. Dan, thanks again. I appreciate you hanging out with us on what is your like turkey coma day. I hope you enjoy the rest of the leftovers. Thanks everybody else. We'll see you next week. We've got Dan Kelsall from Offended Marketing coming to chat to us as well. So it should be fun. And unfiltered is probably going to be an issue next week, but that's cool. All right. See you later, everybody.